Hello fellow booktubers, my name is Lauren, you're watching Dreams Books Courage, and I'm finally back home for the holidays. And so I'm going to be pre-filming a lot of videos, so you're definitely going to be seeing a lot of this bookcase along with my other bookcase a lot, probably until the middle of March. I'm trying to film enough videos for it to go all the way to March, so hopefully I'll be able to do that so that I can get more content out to you guys. But since now it's close to the end of the year, today I'm going to be doing a video about my most anticipated releases of 2016. It's really crazy that 2016 is very close, but I am very excited for a lot of these books. I was originally just going to talk about 10 books, but instead I ended up with 11 books because I just couldn't narrow it down anymore, and so I'm very excited to be sharing these books with you guys. I'm going to be going through my most anticipated releases based on their release dates. So we're going to be starting with the date of January 5th, on which 2 of my most anticipated releases come out. The first one of those being Truth Witch by Susan Dennard. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of this book already because some booktubers have been given advanced reader copies of it, and I have not yet read anything by Susan Dennard previously, but this book sounds really interesting, and she's best friends with one of my favorite authors, Sarah J. Maas, and so I just really want to see what this book is all about. The story follows 2 young women in this fantasy world in which some people are given powers as witches, and these 2 young women are witches but different kinds. And I'm pretty sure they're trying to escape some type of evil power, but that's really all I know about this book and all I want to go into it knowing. I've just heard that there's a lot of girl power in it and there's a lot of strong female relationships, and I love those 2 things. And this just sounds like a very unique fantasy world because of all the different types of witches there are. So I'm really excited for this release date, and it's coming up very soon. This next book is also the start of a new series that comes out on January 5th, and that is Passenger by Alexandra Bracken. Alexandra Bracken is mostly known for the Darkest Minds trilogy, but this new series sounds like it's completely different from that. This is about a girl who is a violin prodigy and she ends up time traveling accidentally, and so I think it's just about this main girl and then this guy, and they're on a quest to find something that only the girl can find. And honestly, the whole synopsis sounds a little bit confusing to me, but it does sound really interesting, especially the time travel part. Plus this cover is just beautiful, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where the story ends up, along with the element of time travel. This next one is a sequel to a book that I read this year, and that is Glassword by Victoria Aveyard, the sequel to Red Queen, and I really enjoyed Red Queen. I know that a lot of people had very mixed feelings on the first book of the series, but I'm really excited for the second book. Although Red Queen did have a lot of tropes that are very common to dystopians, and it seems like a cookie cutter dystopia world, at the end I felt like it really did veer off into its own new direction, and I'm really excited to see where that goes. I just really like books that feature like a hierarchy and just different elements that usually lead to some type of rebellion. Plus I just really like reading dystopian novels. Although the first part of Red Queen didn't really grasp me, the end really did, and you could definitely see that it's going in a very different direction. So although I don't really have anything specific to say about the sequel, since for one it would spoil you guys and also it'd spoil me for a little bit about what's going to be happening in this next book, I am very excited for this one, and I would recommend that you guys go ahead and check out Red Queen, since Glassword is going to be coming out on February 9th. The next book is going to be coming out on April 5th, and that is The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. For those of you who have watched my channel for a while, you know how much I just love Rochelle Mead's books. And this is the start of a new trilogy that sounds just very interesting. It's about a girl who's arranged to be married to a guy that she doesn't really love, and so in order to escape that marriage, she decides to run off and become a servant. And then she's thrust into a world in which she has to complete finishing school, and she also becomes part of this mysterious glittering court. And it sounds very interesting because I'm pretty sure that this is going to be taking place in a fantasy world, so I'd love to see how those elements kind of coincide with this main plot line, along with the fact that this trilogy is each going to have a different main character, and I'm pretty sure that the stories align and they don't necessarily have to be read in any order, and I feel like that's a really interesting concept. Plus this cover is just so gorgeous, and I'm just really looking forward to a new series by Rochelle Mead. This one is coming out on April 5th. The next book is coming out on a very popular release date, which is May 3rd, and that is the finale to the Heir duology with The Crown by Kira Cass. This is like a duology after the original Selection trilogy, but it takes place like 18 years afterwards, and I would definitely only suggest you read it if you've already read the Selection trilogy, otherwise you're going to be spoiled for a lot of different things. But the Selection trilogy was like The Bachelor, and then The Heir is more like The Bachelorette, and we have this main character, Princess Edelyn, and she is told that she has to find a prince, and she's given a certain number of guys from which to choose from, but she's very stubborn and sassy, A lot of people actually don't like her as main character, but I can kind of see that she's having some sort of growth, and I do like her sassiness a lot. Plus, I just really like the guys that are taking place within this selection, and I would just really like to see who Princess Evelyn chooses. Within the selection, it was very easy to see who Prince Maxon was going to choose, but for Princess Evelyn, it's a completely different story. You don't even know she's going to choose anyone at all, but I love this cover. It might be my favorite of all 5 books. I'm really excited to see where the story ends up. Next, we have another book that's also coming out on the date of May 3rd, and that is The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I've read 2 of Morgan Matson's books so far, and they're just so sweet and adorable, and this one sounds really interesting as well. This is about a girl who lives in Washington, D.C., and her dad is a politician, and she just has a very glamorous life, and everything seems to be going right, but then her dad ends up in a scandal, and then everything kind of changes for her without her wanting it to. I love Morgan Matson's works and her characters, and so I'm really excited about this new book. She just has the cutest contemporary, so I definitely recommend that you guys check this one out when it comes out. The next book is part of yet another new series by Rick Riordan, and that is the Trials of Apollo series. The first book being The Hidden Oracle, and this comes out again on May 3rd. This takes place within the Percy Jackson universe, so hopefully we'll see a little bit more Percy within this. But this book is very different from the other books we've seen by Rick Riordan, because this one actually focuses on a god instead of a demigod. For some reason, Zeus has banished Apollo to live like a human, and I'm assuming that he has to go through some type of trials. But from what I remember within Percy Jackson, Apollo seems like a pretty funny guy. Either way, it sounds like this book will be pretty funny since it is about a god having to live like a normal human. Plus, I'm just very excited to see more of the Greek universe of Rick Riordan's world, and I'm really loving that he's doing 2 series at a time. Hopefully I'll have read Magnus Chase before the May 3rd release date of The Hidden Oracle. And the last book that I'm going to be talking about within this video that's going to be coming out on May 3rd is probably one of my most anticipated releases for the year, and that is A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the sequel to A Court of Thorns and Roses, both by Sarah J. Maas. If you guys know me or watch my videos at all, you know I love Sarah J. Maas's books. The first book of the series, A Court of Thorns and Roses, follows a plotline that is very much so like Beauty and the Beast, but it definitely has a lot of different changes, and I really love what Sarah J. Maas did with this world, and I'm really looking forward to where it's going to be going. This is more of a new adult fantasy series instead of a young adult. I'm just really loving it so much so far, and I'm just really looking forward to see if any type of love triangle develops, or if it's just going to be following the normal Beauty and the Beast plotline. But knowing Sarah J. Maas, it probably won't, but I'm sure it's going to be an epic adventure. The next book is actually an anthology that is coming out on June 14th, and this one is edited by Stephanie Perkins and features 12 amazing authors. I'm assuming that this is going to be a lot like My True Love Gave to Me, which is another anthology that was edited by Stephanie Perkins, but all of these authors are different besides Stephanie Perkins, of course, and I'm just so excited to be reading another one of these amazing anthologies. I'm assuming that a lot of these are going to be contemporary, but there'll probably be some fantasy mixed in, and I'm just really loving the summer theme of this one. I feel like it's just going to be a really fun time, and My True Love Gave to Me just filled me with happiness, so I hope that this anthology will do the same. This next book comes out on October 10th, and it is Solutions and Other Problems by Ali Brosh. Earlier this year, I read Hyperbole and a Half by her, and it was just so hilarious. I loved it so much, and I know that this one will be along the same lines as that one. Hyperbole and a Half was a lot of little stories that were told through a graphic format, and it was just all very hilarious. I loved every minute of reading it, and I'm sure that this one will be a lot like that, and I'm just so excited that there's going to be another book by her coming out. But sadly, I'm going to be having to wait until October of next year, but I'm okay with waiting because I know there's just going to be a lot of hilarious moments within it. And the last anticipated release that I'm going to be talking about today is The Song Rising, which is the 3rd book of the Bone Season series by Samantha Shannon, and this one is coming out sometime within November. I'm loving this series so much. It is an adult fantasy series, and it is just very intricate and a little bit hard to explain, but once you get into these books, you really can't get out of them. I've loved the first 2 so far, and I'm really excited to see where the 3rd one goes. They're just filled with so many different emotions and feelings, and I just really want 2 people to be together, but I'm not sure if they'll be able to. But this is just such a great fantasy series. I had to include it, and I'm just really sad that I had to wait so long for the 3rd book since I read the 2nd book in February of 2015, but it's okay because I'm sure this book will be just as amazing as the first two, and it'll be a great way to end out the year of 2016. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know that I did not mention every single release of 2016, but I'm sure that you guys have a lot of books that you would want to recommend as well, so definitely leave those down below. And I'll also leave a link to all the books that are a part of my 2016 anticipated releases, so definitely go and check those out because there are more than what I mentioned within this video. Thank you guys just so much for watching my videos, and now I'm gonna go get back to reading.